Have you ever wondered if what you're going through as a lawyer is unique to you? The truth is, you're not alone. Over the years, I've worked with lawyers from some of the top City of London firms, and I've seen the same hidden struggles repeat themselves. Doubts about confidence, pressure around performance, and the inner critic that drives exhaustion. These "it's not just me" stories show that the fears and challenge you carry are not personal flaws, but part of a wider pattern in the profession. And just as others have found ways through, so can you. Let's dive into these stories. He didn't want to come across as arrogant. So at client events, he would smile, nod along, even laugh at jokes he didn't find funny. At first, he thought it made him relatable, a good lawyer to be around. But outside of work, the cracks were showing. At home, his wife would protest when he cancelled plans or came home late. At first, she argued she was fighting for his availability because she wanted him, she needed him. Then, over time, she stopped. She and the children built a life without him because they couldn't rely on him to be part of theirs. He noticed this, that he felt helpless. And at work, he was beginning to burn out. All the while, he held on to this idea of not being arrogant was what made him likable and successful. But what he eventually discovered was that was just a shield against an old humiliation he'd never faced. He thought that pleasing others would protect him from that old fear. And when he saw that, something unlocked. He stopped shrinking himself. He began to connect with and respect himself and the services he offered to his clients. And his family saw him return. And what really surprised him was that his clients didn't just like him, they sought after him. Winning business became easier because it wasn't just chasing. His self-respect, which is very different to arrogance, was attracting new business. He had thought he was avoiding arrogance. What he was really avoiding was himself, and as a consequence, losing himself. She kept asking for more associates to be put on her case, but she kept hearing, "Soon, we promise." She was diligent and never shied away from hard work, so she kept plugging the gap, doing the role of an associate and a junior partner. Then came the complaint about her leadership. She was told that an associate had called her abrupt. Normally she would be devastated by such feedback, but she was furious and had an angry outburst in the meeting. The part of her that needed to stand up for herself came out too intensely and with an uncomfortable force. The other partners were not sympathetic. She had been in a pattern of losing herself, but they just saw she was losing control. She discovered through coaching how to assertively stand up for herself and increase her sense of agency. She also passed this on to her associates and intentionally changed the culture in her team. She created a microculture so that associates felt empowered to speak up and also became accountable for their own role in the team dynamics. She had invested in coaching and built a clear career plan. It was working. Then right at a crucial moment in her plan, a senior partner asked her to take on extra work. She went into overwhelm and she thought, what's the point of having a plan if it can always be derailed by others? As we explored, she saw that she was still acting like an associate, doing everything herself, avoiding conflict, telling herself she was useless if she couldn't handle both priorities. Then came the realization. It wasn't just the senior partner sabotaging her plan. She was sabotaging it too, by believing that she was obliged to do everything, and by thinking that the only solution to this overwhelm was to give up on her career plan altogether. That shift changed everything. Although it felt counterintuitive, she allowed herself one Saturday to fully rest and recharge. Then she built a sustainable routine and a work plan that enabled her to stay in flow for 4 weeks. She planned how to negotiate and delegate. She meal planned, learned how to regulate her nerves when the fear of disappointing others arose. The result? She delivered on both priorities without the huge toll. And more importantly, she walked away with a lived experience of agency she could carry into the rest of her career. He had been given a scholarship to attend private school. But even years later, at work, he carried a deep sense of being inferior to his peers. That feeling showed up in subtle ways. He hid in intelligence. He mumbled in meetings. And when he couldn't bear it anymore, his ideas would burst out clumsily without precision. When colleagues didn't respond, he got angry with them for not listening. They weren't in the habit of listening to him. The turning point came when he realized he had a role in not being heard. His sense of inferiority was old, and it didn't match the reality of his career. He had succeeded in elite environments again and again. Through coaching, he learned to respect his intelligence and communicate with clarity. He practiced slowing down, preparing key points, and speaking with conviction. And he developed ways to regulate the surge of frustration that would spill over into his communication. The result? He was heard, not because others changed, but because he showed up differently. And with that came a new sense of authority that enabled him to communicate with ease and flow. She was a junior partner expecting her first child. Instead of planning her leave, she avoided the conversation. She feared that talking about it would mark her out as less committed, so she put it off. She avoided setting boundaries, avoided planning her return, and avoided asking for support. Inside, she was anxious, wondering if her career might stall or if her colleagues would quietly move ahead without her. The turning point came when she recognized that her silence was creating more uncertainty than the leave itself. By avoiding communication, she was feeding her fears and not taking charge of any unconscious biases in the system. Through coaching, she worked out a clear plan for her leave and her return. She practiced how to talk about it with confidence and authority. She learned how to regulate the fear that arose each time she imagined those conversations. The result? She not only protected her career trajectory, she gained respect for leading with clarity. And when she returned, she stepped back into her role with a stronger sense of agency than before and a clearer direction for her career. He was a senior associate close to making partner. The firm was testing whether he was ready. He performed well, but underneath, he was drained. He never said no. He worked late, picking up the pieces for others. He told himself, to prove I'm ready, I have to carry it all. The turning point came when he realized, yes, the firm was testing him, but he was also testing himself. That belief, I'm responsible for everything, was actually sabotaging his performance. Through coaching, he learned to show discernment, to say no in ways that built trust in his standards, and to manage energy, not just time. That shift turned exhaustion into a positive sense of agency and a sense of mastery, which sounded like, I can and I am growing into this next phase. She was a capable lawyer, but inside she carried a constant weight. She drove herself relentlessly, convinced that mistakes were unacceptable and rest was weakness. That weight wasn't just the pressure from the firm, it was a legacy. She had inherited the unspoken rule from her family. You only have value if you work harder than everyone else. It pushed her to succeed, but it also drained her. No matter what she achieved, it never felt enough. That turning point came when she realized this belief wasn't hers alone, it was a legacy burden. But within that burden, there was also a legacy gift. The resilience, dedication, and persistence passed down through her family story. Through coaching, she learned to let go of the burden while keeping the gift. She kept her drive and discipline, but without the self-punishment. She began to work strategically, not compulsively. The result? Her performance didn't just stay strong, it improved. And she finally experienced her success not as a weight to carry, but as a foundation she could stand on and enjoy.